Alright guys, welcome back to the shop. Well, outside my shop anyways. This is my little shed I got in the back 40 where I keep junk that I don't want to throw away. But it's gonna go sometime. Anyways, this video here, the tractor that I restored kind of over spring and just right into summer. That's my 1964 Cub Cadet Model 100. What I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be installing these headlights. This had a block-off plate on it from the factory, and headlights were a extra. And to find that plate is kind of expensive. So just the aluminum pieces, the bezels, these bezels around the lights are, $30 a piece, and you need two of these to make one that encapsulates the lamp. It's just, they're really expensive to find originals, so I'm going to make that one. And yeah, it shouldn't be a too long of a video, I hope, but that's what we're going to do here in this video. Right there is 1964 Simplicity Landlord 101. Very hard to find. Even has the original coffee can exhaust muffler on it. It's a 10 horse cast iron Briggs engine. Even that's something else that's hard to find, is this bracket here for the headlights. It has the big bug eye headlights. I have the headlights off of it and put away in a box because they're that hard to find. So someday I'll get it out and restore it. That's all original paint. It hasn't been mistreated or anything, so that's all original. The seat needs restored. It's long time gone, but yeah. All right, enjoy the video on watching me make this headlight bracket and getting it all mounted in there. Well, I got the piece cleaned up for the headlight bezel here. I got it deburred. I took a file and cleaned up in here. It really cut a lot better than what I thought it would. I did change my consumable over to a fine cut. This is 14 gauge, and these pieces, I was worried about the fitment. I wanted to keep it as tight as I could, so when I laid it out in AutoCAD, I laid it out into the thousandths. So, and it actually pops in. I think it pops in a little tighter than what it does in an original piece. But then the light will go on. And that'll go like that. So now, since all these studs on an original piece are all spot welded, I kind of wish I had a spot welder, but I don't. I mean, I have a Harbor Freight one, but it's just not big enough. So I punched all these holes down to the thousandths of the 1032, or no, 1024 screws. I just lopped the heads of them off. And what I want to do, what I'm going to try to do, I even, you know, I tapped, like I said, I tapped all the holes. I'm going to put a nut on this side just for the time being, just to, basically just to hold this thing. Trying to get the nut started on the other side. I just got basically a full nut on the other side. And I'll do the same over here. Some of the holes came out a little big, but that's fine. Need that little bit of slop in it. Just put that trim ring down in there. Light bulb. And how, I mean, I got this, they fit perfect. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna TIG tack these nuts to the plate. That kind of gives a little bit more strength on the vibration of the tractor, and a little more holding power. And then once I get all that done, I'll take all this off, spin these nuts off, and then I'll grind that down. The screw, I'll grind it off, and then I'll TIG over top of that just to kind of burn that in. I'm not too worried about what it's going to look like. You know, I'll buff it out, make it the best I can. But you know, that whole decal goes over top. You know, if it's a little low, you know, take a little body filler and, you know, sand it off, get it all flat, just so I don't have any bubbles in the decal. But yeah, I mean, it's not gonna, anybody that knows what they're looking at, they know it's not original just because they're gonna see these, you know, the nut here welded on. But I think it's gonna look just fine, really. I mean, I bet you no one will even notice. I mean, I tried to find, well, I found several. The whole, I found these out of a, since they're the same on some models of the 100, there's two different versions of attaching the light, and this is the later 60s, but it'll still work. It'll still fit in the tractor. So not too worried about being absolute correct for 1964. But I found these on Marketplace. The guy took a picture of the parts tractor and he said, let me know what you need. And I told him I wanted these aluminum light bezel, brackets, and so I could have made these. I mean, they're aluminum, but to find the aluminum plate and stuff like that and take all the time, I could make the whole thing. I thought about making a different bezel, that would trim out this a little nicer, because this is dependent on counting on the decal hiding all this ugly that's around it, which really not that big of a deal. I mean, I don't know, that's just me being picky, I guess. I mean, it's just an old garden tractor. But yeah, so I'll set the other one up, and we'll get these nuts here, tigged on. All right, that's how it mounts in with these tabs here that wedge between the two. That'd be, like 4 of them on it. The big baby's in here because it's too hot outside, and he's got the air conditioner on, and he's laying here on the cool floor, just soaking in the coolness. But that thing looks factory, almost. Get those nuts and everything off of there and cut down, and I'll paint these bezels black. That'll get just primered and wet sanded, so I'll put my decal over the smooth primer surface. It'll be fine. Alright, I got started and I didn't hit the button on the camera. I mean, my bad. But basically 80 grit, went over it, knocked it all down. Then I got some 220 on another file board, and then I'm just softening it up, taking the 80 grit scratches out, and it's damn near pretty smooth. So now I'm gonna prime it with some self-etching primer just to get on to bite into the metal and everything, and it'll also bite into that body filler. It'll probably shrink at the body filler, so it'll get I'll probably 220 it, spray it probably a couple times just to fill any imperfections, which I'm probably going to get anal and picky, even though, like I said, there's a decal that goes over top of it. Honestly, it's good enough right now to where you could paint it and put the decal over it. But, you know, I'm going to, you know, I'll primer it and then put the decal on it. Because the self-etching primer is real nice. It comes out pretty smooth. You probably run over it with light, you know, 400 grit or something like that, or some 600. That's just me getting picky. I can feel the edge. You know, and the feather body filler on bare metals a lot easier. I mean, your finger, your touch, as long as you got, I mean, they're not clean, but they're dry. You can feel a lot more than you can see. So, I mean, you could fill up to what, 1/1000th of an inch, really. I mean, you could fill the rays, but once I get the primer on it and then block it again, it should be pretty good. Then one good coat of the primer over top of that, and lightly wet sand it with 400 grit and a, where's it at? I got these little foam pads. I mean, see, these have been through, well, I probably did like one car before, but then I'll wrap a piece of 400 grit wet dry and lightly take the fuzz off everything, and then it's ready to paint. Okay, here it is, done and painted. I mean, it's not done, but it's in paint, and I got I taped off all the threads. So I can touch it, but if you grab hold of it and squeeze, it'll leave a fingerprint. So I'm gonna leave it set for a while. Probably won't do it till tomorrow, but then I'll get the decal put on it, get the lights cut out. I did go ahead and blacken these bezels here that come up through the other side, so that's what you see. You'll see the inside and that face. So those are blacked. Rear tail light, I don't think I'm just going to leave it alone, leave it like it is. I went ahead and made a bracket for it. These are the little corner gussets for the front headlight. Then you got this. It'll go on. I'll pull the one bolt right here, I'll pull it out. It'll go on like that. That way I'm not drilling any holes in this old, you know, sheet metal. So, and I put a 90 in it just to hide the fastener. So I think that will look pretty good. And I'm gonna leave it painted it black just to match the light. I'm not going to paint it. So that seems to be drying a lot quicker than what I thought it would. So it's real soft. I mean, I can handle it. I'm not leaving fingerprints in it. So I'll be gentle. I can get it mounted on the tractor, and then, you know, this I can touch it, but I'm afraid to squeeze on it. So this paint takes a hot minute. Alrighty, there it is in all of its glory. I didn't videotape none of that just because it's a pain in the ass, you know, doing it, and I like doing all my vinyls dry if they're a certain size. If they're small, I'll do them dry. But this fits that perfect, and it was hard to see through the film. And yeah, so and I did it inside on the countertop with a big towel, and a bit of soapy water and kept moving it around till it was perfect. And then I couldn't get a couple of the bubbles out just from the packaging. It was in there in a box, kind of folded into a U, so I had a big crease right down through here that I was trying to get out. And then I decided to just go ahead and I cut the lights out. So I cut those out while I was still trying to move it around, and that seemed to help chase all the water out and take that big crease out that was right in here. So it really needs to set for a hot minute. I did take a hair dryer and went over it a little bit, warmed it up from the back side of the plate to get the water to start evaporating out. But I think I got pretty much all of it out. There's no bubbles in it at all, so I'm really happy about that. I got the LEDs in. They're all mounted the way they're supposed to be. And I got the tabs, these corner tabs. Like that on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and get this mounted in the tractor. And if you hear a bunch of noise, that's my air conditioner running. Bandit's in here. Got him out of the sun. It's not really so much hot today, but it's humid. I mean, he's been in here just laying on this cold floor, just enjoying that. So I shut my fan off too, because I had the fan on circulating, and he's laying in the draft of the fan, and then right in line where the air conditioner is blowing. And people complain about dogs and stuff in the winter. If you're cold, they're cold. My ass. They love the winter. Now those inbred little high dollar little ankle biter yippy dogs, yeah, them things ain't worth the shit. People that have them are nuts. Yep, if they're cold, if you're cold, they're freezing. But then in the summer they'll take them for a walk, and then they'll walk them on 130-degree asphalt or concrete. I mean, where's the, I don't know. Okay, this one here is going to be a mother sucker. I'm gonna have to backtrack. There's a lot of stuff on these tractors that you have to go in order putting them back together. A lot of stuff. I mean, I have my clutch rod I forgot to put on. In order for me to get it on, I have to take this whole front end back off. That or just bend the clutch bracket. I'm not going to do that. So in order to go to that show, you can't have any decks on or anything like that. You can't. They don't want anything with, you know, the blades hooked up on a mower deck or anything like that. So I'll just leave it off for now. Alrighty, so that's what it looks like with a set of headlights. I remember somebody telling me the cost of the extras on here. I think back in '64, I think to have headlights was like $6 or $7 extra. I think fenders were around $35, $40 extra. And then I think the rear lip was around $75. You got this, this is called a sleeve hitch. Some people call it a 3-point, but it's not. It kind of acts as one when it's all together. I still have a bar to put in here, 1-inch bar, and then there's some brackets and another bracket that goes on that bracket down there at the bottom. And then that bar goes all the way up here, attaches to this rock shaft. Down in there, kind of hard to see, you can see the white, that's the bracket. That attaches to that, so it's all Armstrong up and down. To be correct, these tires should only be 6 inches wide, but that's what I have right now. I don't have the rims. I don't have the 5-inch rim. It's 5 by 12 to put a 6-inch treaded tire on, which I don't have the tires, don't have the rims, so I had these for the other tractor, so that's what went on it. But I will switch it back over, but I'm going to put duals on it. I'm going to put 2 sets of the 6-inch. And the way I'm going to do it now, we'll see. If I get to that point. But, yeah. I'm about ready to go take a drive. I drove it around in the yard last night for about an hour. I want to run it for about another hour, and then I'm going to dump all the oil out. And then, you know, get rid of any dirt or anything that was in that block. It went together pretty clean, but I did that decal dry and come out real good. All these went on dry. Try and turn my shotgun mic around on my camera. Let's take 2. So all these decals went on dry. No bubbles in them. This decal went on dry. It's got a few small ones. I poked them with a pin. Then once this gets out in the sun, it'll shrink wrap. All that vinyl will shrink in the sun, and it'll squeeze all the air out. But look at him. He just sleeping. Opened his eyes. What do you want? Huh? You're getting old. He's about 12 years old, so I don't know what that is in dog years. But I got this bar that hooks to here and runs up to that bracket up there on the clutch or on the PTO. Goes in right down in here, and I can't get that on without taking the front end off and then taking the starter back off, at least the belt and the bracket, so I can get that bar in. I don't even know what I did with it. It's laying here somewhere. Oh, here it is. It's just an adjustable bar. It's got right and left hand threads, so you can turn this to draw it tighter or looser to make adjustments. Yeah, that's got to go down in there. I forgot all about it. Well, I'm gonna get some stuff out the way and probably go putt around in the yard.